friends, this is Karen from Blue Rooster Farm, and today we have lots going on in the kitchen. So this video is for a summer harvest chili sauce recipe. We're going to be making it and canning it. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, stick around. Hey, thanks for sticking around. Well, today in this video, we're going to be making a chili sauce. And I've been wanting to make a chili sauce for a while because I've never made one, and this looked like a good recipe. So I found this recipe on a blog, and it was called Azure Farm. And it is a tested ball recipe. I'm going to put the link to this recipe in my description box so that you can go to her site and give her the audience and the traffic. It might be a recipe that's in one of Ball's books, but I don't know whether or not it's in the online Ball recipes. I hadn't seen it. It might be there, but I hadn't seen it. But I'm going to be sending you to Azure Farm, and she has a blog about this recipe and all the information on making it and all the recipe. So what we're going to be needing, well, first of all, a chili sauce is a tomato-based sauce that has a bit of a kick, and you can use it for different recipes. They call for chili sauce. This one is the first chili sauce that I've seen in a long time that actually has a little chili powder, and that's what I was wanting. I was wanting one that had chili powder. I know I could add chili powder because it's a dry seasoning, but I thought this one sounds like a good one. You could also use it for making chili, but a lot of recipes call for a can of chili sauce, and this would be perfect for that. So what we need is 9 pounds of tomatoes, peeled and roughly chopped, about 4 quarts. Now what I did was I went and ran my KitchenAid strainer, pureer, juicer, and I worked up a bunch of tomatoes last night because this is going to be a pureed sauce, and I went ahead and did that, and so I have 4 quarts of the sauce that I made last night right here in my pot. You're also going to need 6 onions chopped, and an onion is about 1 cup. A regular size onion would be about 1 cup. So I've got 6 cups of onions, and you can use whatever kind of onions you have on hand. And this is going to make a large batch, but it's going to cook down. We're going to be cooking it down. You are also going to need 3 bell peppers, and it says seeded and chopped. I didn't seed mine. Well, I guess I did. I took the center cores out, but there's seeds still in there. And so I used not only green, but I had red too. You can use those interchangeably and keep the recipe safe. So I've got both red and green, and that is about 3 cups. 3 bell peppers is about 3 cups. They ask for 6 Thai red or Anaheim chilies. Now, I thought I had some Anaheim from last year, but I guess I didn't. Anaheim is a mildly hot pepper. The Thai chili are little tiny ones that are quite hot. I didn't have either of those, so I did have a little red chili pepper, and I also had jalapenos, so I am just going to substitute with my jalapenos. And in a recipe, you can substitute whatever kinds of peppers that you like. So if you don't want this to be a hot sauce, You don't have to use hot peppers. You could substitute a mild pepper. So we're going to put 6 Anaheim chilies or 6 Thai red chilies. And I think I'm using, I forgot what I figured that out to be. I think I've got about, just because of the spice level, about 1.5 cups of jalapenos. 6 garlic cloves, and I just chopped those up. 2 cups of apple cider vinegar. Remember, you do need to make sure it's 5% acidity. And if you don't have apple cider, you can use white. A tablespoon of salt, and I'm going to use my, here it is. I'm going to be using my canning and pickling salt, so 1 tablespoon. This is a large batch, so lots of veggies in there. Then it says 1 tablespoon of grated horseradish, and it's optional. I'm not going to put that in there. I have a horseradish plant that I have just started growing this year. I haven't had a chance to take a peek at the roots yet. I don't know. The plant itself looks wonderful, but I haven't had a chance to go out and see what I've got. It may take more than a year to actually get a good root from it, but I'm not going to put the horseradish in it. It would probably be very good with it. So if you have grated horseradish, 1 tablespoon. It asks for 1 tablespoon of mustard seed. Now, I'm wanting this recipe to be smooth, and I really didn't want the mustard seed, even though they probably would puree up some. I decided just to substitute that with mustard, ground mustard. So I just used a tablespoon of ground mustard. Not the kind of mustard you have in your refrigerator, but the mustard seeds that are ground up, and it's a powder. 2 tablespoons of chili powder. 1, 2, and 2 teaspoons of allspice. And I don't know if they wanted you to use the whole or the ground. I'm using the ground, and 2 teaspoons. Now on the dry herbs, if there's something that you don't like, you don't have to use it. Dry herbs aren't going to affect your recipe. You can leave a dry herb out, or you can put one in, but it won't affect it. So that is all of our ingredients. And according to her directions, at this point, she would take her food processor, because she'd have chopped tomatoes and all the chopped veggies, and she would run it through her food processor and get it nicely pureed. But I have a handheld blender, and I'm going to be using that once everything's softened up and cooked down. I will make it smooth with that. So you can have the option. While it's cold, you can put it through your blender or your food processor, or you can wait until it's softened and cooked and then run your handheld blender and get it nice and pureed. So we've got everything in here. Boy, I just barely got the right size pot. This is a big recipe starting off. So you do need a big pot. So we're going to take all of this and we're going to put it on the heat. And it says, and that's something that I've got on the stove. Combine all ingredients in a large stainless steel pot and bring to a boil over high heat, stirring frequently. Lower heat and simmer until thickened, about 1.5 to 2 hours, occasionally stirring to prevent scorching. The sauce is done when it is thick enough to hold its shape on a spoon. So if you mound it up, you've got a mound of sauce on it. Now, if you don't want it that thick, you don't have to get it that thick. That is your choice, but it would be safe, according to the recipe, for it to be that thick. So I'm going to get this on the burner and I'm going to let it cook down. And when it is all cooked down, I will show you what we've got and we will can it up. After it's softened up, I'm going to whir it with my hand mixer, and then I'll bring it here and we'll put it in jars. So I will be back in just a minute. I'm bringing you back real quick. I just turned the camera off and I came to take my pot and put it on the stove, and I noticed I left out an ingredient. My brown sugar is still sitting here. So you do need 1 cup of brown sugar to your recipe, and that will give it a really good taste. So we're gonna put that in without making it plop all over the place, and stir that in, and now we have a really full pot. So now I will let you go, and I'll bring you back when it's all ready to jar up. It's just come off the stove and we are ready to can it up. So you'll notice when I first put this sauce on the stove, it was all the way to the top. And now it's reduced by about half, and it cooked for 2 hours or more. The directions she says you'll know it's thick enough when it holds the shape on a spoon. It doesn't quite do that. Mine still, it's a nice thick sauce, but it's not one that holds the shape. But I don't want that. If you were doing enchilada sauce, that might be something you'd want. But since this is a chili sauce, it's thick, and it will thicken up even when it's cooled down, but it's not actually being able to hold the shape like more of a paste. So it's fine for what I'm using it for. What we're going to do is we're going to fill a couple of jars, and I'll walk you through that. Then I will put these in the canner, and I've got my canner heating up. It's a steam canner. It's water bath or steam canner for this. We're going to process for 20 minutes, and we're going to have a 1/2 inch headspace. Now, if you're a beginner with canning with water bath or steam canning, if you need to go back and see some of my videos that I've just done recently with other tomato products, I've got more step-by-step instructions and more detailed instructions on how to do that. Today, I am just going to go ahead and do a couple jars for you, and then get it in the canner and bring you back when it's all done. This sauce is delicious. I've tasted it, and it is delicious. Remember, be sure you taste your sauces before you can them up. You can add seasonings, dried seasonings, salt, pepper, and that won't affect the safety of the recipe. So make sure you like it before you can it up, okay? If you don't like it now, you're not gonna like it after it's canned. But this is delicious. So what we're gonna do is we use a funnel. We're going to put, and this is for pint-sized jars. If you wanna do 1/2 pint, that's fine. You'll still need to process them for 20 minutes, and you will still need to have a 1/2 inch headspace. You can't do quarts, or it's not suggested that you do quarts. It won't be considered a safe recipe for that. So I'm giving a 1/2 inch headspace. That one's a little bit high. I'll take a little bit off of that one. So we're doing that for both of these. And it's important that you get your headspace correct. That way it will seal correctly. I got this one about a quarter inch, so we want to go down to a 1/2 inch. Looks good. Then what you're going to do is you're going to clean the rims, and I always use vinegar, whether it's sugary, oily, or whatever, just because it does do a good job at cleaning. And then I use the extra vinegar in my water bath canning or my steam canning to keep the jars clean and not have the hard water build up on them. So we clean those rims nicely. And I actually should have debubbled first. And we just check to make sure there's no bubbles in there. Usually with this sauce, this consistency, you're not going to have any problem. If it were a thicker sauce or it had lots of chunky stuff, then you'd need to make sure you do that. So get that nice and clean. We've got new clean lids. And none of my jars or lids are sterilized. They get sterilized in the process. Remember, if you're water bath canning or steam canning or pressure canning for more than 10 minutes, they are sterilized in that process. If it's less than 10 minutes, you need to sterilize jars, lids, all the things that you're canning with for before you can. Okay, these two are done. I did fingertip tight on the rings. They are ready to go in. I'm going to get the rest of these. I think I'll either end up with 7 or 8, it looks like. We'll see. It also depends on how thick. If I cooked it down more, I'd have less sauce. So it all depends on how much you cook down as to how much you get. So what I'm going to do is finish this up, put them on my steam canner, and then when it's all done, I'll bring it back and I'll show you the end product. All right, see you soon. Okay, our chili sauce was processing for 20 minutes, and then I let it set for 10 minutes to kind of acclimate. And we're going to take it out here, open it up away from you. And let's see what our jars look like. I'm hearing them pop. Looking really good. I don't see any of them that siphoned. They look great. The sauce looks wonderful. Let me get one of them out here. Is what it looks like. Beautiful chili sauce. This is going to be great to have in the pantry this winter. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing. Also, comment, like, share. I would really appreciate that as well. And have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.